Is there a doctor in the house?
Doctor, you have a visitor in the main lobby.
Hello and welcome to the Talk To Th3 Doc podcast, where we cut through all the hype today around artificial intelligence, and we'll get into exploring a little bit more about voice AI and how generative AI are already transforming the client experience, productivity, and revenue in ways that maybe a lot of leaders aren't prepared for yet. I'm your host, Steve the Dr. Meek, and the doctor is in. Our guest today is Seeni Kittappa, and let's get into it. So, Seeni, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me here. And it is a wonderful opportunity to discuss several AI-related topics with you.
Well,
Thank you.
we're excited to jump right into it, but could you tell us a little bit about you first?
Yeah, sure. My full name is Seeni Kittappa, as you said, and I'm currently employed at Ingram Micro as an AI architect lead, where I'm responsible for overseeing data and AI engineering, as well as all the development initiatives. And my background, I was born and raised in India. Even if you look at my name, Seeni, the first name, Seeni is nothing but a sugar sweet, but actually it also implies to the another maybe one of our gods from the Hindu religion. And my native is southern part of India, where I pursued my studies in tools and plastic engineering. And that's entirely a different domain where I am right now. But however, my career path led me into the software engineering. And I began my professional journey by building 3D models for engineering and working on various file format conversion solutions using C and C++. So that's my quick background. But throughout my career, I have been taken various roles that I had opportunity to live and work in several countries, including England, Lithuania, India, and as well as in the United States. So, and since 2007, I've been living in the US, where I have worked with multinational companies, IBM, Charter Bank, and other multinational firms focusing on technology and then software. But one point I want to get to the table would be my career, almost 23 years. I happen to see this unimaginable growth and then transformation within the software field. And that is one of the catalysts, I would say, to continue in the same space. And you eager to see where it will go and what can be done with the technology evaluation. Um, thanks to you again.
Well, I'm excited about it. With a name synonymous sugar sweetness, I'm sure you're going to add a lot of flavor to the conversation today. And unfortunately, you're talking with me. You know, my last name is Meek, so sweet, Meek. Yeah, you got the better end of the deal on the name.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and right into it. What I'd like to do is into the vitals. So one of the things that I always like to ask my guests is kind of the pulse. You know, what's the current state of the market around AI, at least in your mind?
Yeah, marketplace. Yes, definitely, I want to topic. I want to talk about the intelligence role in transforming customer service industry. How AI offering a significant opportunity for the business to boost productivity, enhance personalization, and then the faster growth. And how voice AI agents for the restaurant industry, retail restaurant industry, that handles a call, presenting menus, and managing food order bookings, and handling the payments, and freeing staff to focus on the delivering exceptional hospitality. And in the same sense, market pulse is, I would say, by 2027, over 75% of the US households are expected to own voice activated devices like speakers and boosting familiarity with voice interactions. And the
5%.
other, yeah, percentage. That's what the analysis that we did in 2024 and 2025. And that is the reason from the Ingram Micro and our partners, we have been focusing on contact center AI, how to enable and then generative AI for the customer communication services and all of them. And with respect to this industry, the contactless food ordering is the current trend. Even restaurants are adapting voice technology that will cater increasing customer demand for a quick, touchless, and easy to use experiences. And another side, a recent survey shows that 62% of the consumers are willing to use based voice ordering system for the quick service and then fast restaurant. And the voice technology is in the food industry is no longer the future idea. It is becoming started becoming the mainstream to improve customer experience and operational efficiency. And then I think I would talk about for only the perspective one, achieving higher customer satisfaction through there was no missed calls, how we are going to responding it to it, how we are going to bring AI for the personalized food order and all of them. And other side for the restaurant, how we are going to recover those lost revenue opportunity. Because without AI, say for example, if 100 customer call to the restaurant, they may not be able to attend all the 100 calls. They may be attending only 50% or 60% of the calls. The remaining 30% is missed out. So how we are going to recovering those lost revenue opportunities and then adding personalization, everything. So the market pulse is going to be revolving around on those lines.
Got you. So, in essence, the customer's experience, bringing in, the ability to use based. I think you used the example of quick service or fast casual eateries, but that's applicable to a lot of other industries too, as well. You used the example of restaurants and stuff, but do you see it in other industries as well that similar concepts, but customer service?
Yes, we do. I think you asked the right question. Is not only for the restaurant, that is applicable for the banking as well, because they are also dealing with the customers. And say, for example, collection agency. That's what we've been talking to one of our customers. How that artificial intelligence, machine learning, especially on the contact center customer communication, can be helpful for the collections space. One side that we have been working on it. Another side for the public sector, one of our state from United States, say a city from the Midwest, they've been asking, they're getting almost 10,000 to 12,000 calls every month for the 911 kind of emergency call. But if you look at the history, if you look at the analysis of the data, 70% of the calls are non-emergency calls, but everybody calling into the 911, pick up the line and then calling it. So with what they want is take the same solution and then placing it for them, how to classify emergency non-call. So there are multiple ways that I've been working on it right now. But though we have worked on various AI projects and initiatives on the other side, the repeat ask for the partner and customers always on the customer service and support. How to support customers and then effective feedback collections, and then how to provide using AI for the best responses, and how AI can be instrumental in assisting customer service crew and into their end-to-end journey. It means receiving those calls, get those questions, process those questions, get the answer, and then serve them properly, and then take it up to the end line. It means the end-to-end spectrum of the work, how AI will be helpful. So that's a kind of a lay of the land. Everybody's talking about it, and I think you are right. It's not only applicable for the restaurant. The same pattern solution can be applied to other industries as well. You are right.
Yeah, I think everyone's struggling with every organization that provides services or solutions. With a rush of client expectations changing faster than organizations like us can hire or train people, and you're caught in that quandary of you got so many calls coming in, you got so many requests via email, you got social media requests, you got requests from everywhere, but phone dominates of inbound. We need help, and if we can't reach the right person right away, then we go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, do you see this shift kind of happening a little bit differently for SMBs, public sector organizations versus large enterprises?
No, it's the same, but the classification would be on these two lines. If you take artificial intelligence, has been becoming driving force for reshaping customer service industry. And there are many advancements in the AI itself. So we were talking about the traditional AI. Right now, the generative AI stands out, and then doing all those transformative technology, providing business with various powerful tools, increase productivity, and delivering high personalized support. We take the same pattern, and then it's cutting across everywhere. How much importance this the public sector industries, public sector domain or customer they're providing. Same way, private sector is also doing it right now. But the adoption, the way vibrating it, or the way they are consuming it, may be a little bit slow. But consumption is going to be across the board, both public sector as well as the private sector.
Gotcha. Now, if I'm an organization that has to deal with client experience, or if I'm just an organization as a leader, what skills should I be watching for to tell me that my clients are ready or expecting, kind of that voice first AI experience?
Yeah. So um, we look at because we do these things. One, talking to the partner and customer
Okay,
first,
talk to
and
the
then
customer.
understand whether do they have any North Star or that they want to have any predefined requirement they want to implement AI. If not, we will take the other path. It means we will take the path. It means working with the partner, working with the customer. What do they really need? And then start educating them and run along all the way. It means what kind of existing investment they have done. That's the first question we asked. Are they into the cloud? If they're not into the cloud, then to bring them onto the cloud because the data has to be live in there, maybe at least a cloud, or maybe at least they have to do some kind of cleanup on those data. So we have to look at it, what kind of existing investments they did. And then the second thing is the one what I have mentioned, the North Star. Do they decide what direction they want to go, what they want to achieve by end of this year or maybe the next year? If they have any kind of a North Star, then we will align with them. Otherwise, by doing the discovery, we will create a North Star for them because based on looking at their existing investment, what kind of business they are, what the similar customer or maybe the identical customer is doing in the same industry. We looked at it and then we'll provide some kind of a recommendation to them. And then third thing would be this tactical and as well as a strategic business goal. So what is their tactical thing they want to do? What they want to achieve in next 90 days or maybe in 180 days? What are the tools and technologies that we can bring in to achieve it? And then the long-term strategic business goals. We are also looking at it. And then the fourth one, importantly, is on the go-to-market because though we are building those solutions, enabling them, educating those customers, they want to take it up to the production. They want to take it up to their customer. Then what are the channels that we need to enable? What kind of channels do they have? Or do we need to create any other channels? And then what is their, mind? So their go-to-market strategy and go-to-market is going to be the another key that we use. So we will put together these four things, then decide where the customer is there, we are there, and then based on that, we will design and move on. Steve, that's the approach we are following it right now.
Gotcha. Well, a couple of important things I heard out of that, getting, having their foundation solid, getting their data into the cloud so those workloads are accessible to the systems that trying to utilize with them. I also like the idea of, star, to understand, is that one direction you're going, what's everything else for your organization, so we can make sure that we're enabling, facilitating that your go-to-market strategy is, or what you're trying to accomplish with your end user. Those are some great salient points. Now, as far as other vitals, one of the things I like to think of is the heart rate, which I consider to be kind of, what are the performance metrics that are, impacting AI right now? What would you say? What's the meaningful metric for you in that particular area?
For in this case, I think I want to give you a quick background, maybe 1 minute.
Okay.
So I was talking about the existing investments, North Star, and all of them. If I'm extending the same thing for this particular customer, so the customer is in restaurant industry. They have already have a system to take those food order. So they already have a Ring Central. There's the customer communication platform, and along with that, there is a platform called SoundHound. So both they have been using it to receive those calls. But once the call is received, then everything is going to be manual. The customer crew they are looking at their menu. The menu is already digitized. The menu is already in the kind of a task, the platform called a task, TASK. The menu presentation is being done, but that customer crew has to look at those menus and then presenting to the customer who were called, and then make those kind of elaborate them, and then help them to finalize the menu, then go for the point of sale, and then take the payment, send the notification. Everything they are doing it right now. So we are not bringing anything into them, but they already have a solid kind of that is being enabled. But what we did was the new approach. How are we going to automate end to end instead of going with the kind of another kind of heterogeneous platform? Can we move to AWS or and then so that all the end to end flow can live and work into this hyperscaler itself. So that's what we did it. So it means customer calling to the restaurant, we are receiving those calls, and then from the call, then we're going to integrate with the external system, the menu, and presenting it to them. Everything is we are doing it voice to voice. It means that kind of long range processing. Customer before that, if you look at maybe 5 years or maybe 10 years ago, customers calling into the restaurant, there will be a keypad, right? So they have to go with this, press 1 for the menu, then press 2 for talking to the manager, press 3 for this talking to the customer representative. So we are not living in that era right now. It means this kind of free flow communication. As a customer, I'm calling into the restaurant. I can ask whatever I want within the boundary of the restaurant, so that the system, the AI system, the generative AI system, is able to understand what customer is asking for, and then get the things done. So that's the kind of a lay of the land I want to provide it to you. But in terms of the performance, we worked on these two different categories. One, what are all the areas that we need to do the improvisation within the enterprise, within for the restaurant, and then other side, how are we going to take care of the customer? So the first thing is regaining the lost revenue opportunities, because the rest they've been getting almost 130 calls, 130K calls every year, but they were able to answer only 50 to 60% of the customer calls. So 50% of the customer calls missed due to the labor shortage, or maybe increased workload, or maybe handling inefficiencies, many ways. But the voice AI solves this issue, and then that is going to kind of any generation, which means that we take maybe 65,000 calls, and then if we say $20 for each order, then that itself going to be resulting 1.5 million to 2 million per month. For the year, it's going to be 23, 24 million. So we are looking at those kind of performance metrics, and that's where we align those solutions and as well as our return of investments.
Well, you had me back when you said getting away from the legacy menu of press 1 to do this, press 2 to do this, press 3 to do this. I can see where it'd be very empowering for somebody calling in to a restaurant and being able to not just ask about the menu, but ask about the hours, ask about whatever other question they have without having to go through the archaic back and forth of a phone menu. I think today pretty much all of us can agree that's one of the most painful things in the world, is being pinholed into a legacy phone menu where you just can't get a hold of somebody, or you've got I think I was dealing with a situation the other day. I was trying to pay a medical bill, and there was like some sort of nuance. It didn't match any one of the menus, and so I'm going up and down, up and pay them. So to your point about recapturing lost revenue, opportunities, I was just trying to make a payment. I was beyond that, and I was just trying to pay, but I couldn't even get through to through the menu. I ended up having to go by their office and talk to them in person because of the particular issue I was having. And I can really see how that would help. But from your point, beyond the increased revenue, the personalizing, in your head, do you think that leaders underestimate how much revenue they might be losing from those missed or mishandled interactions?
Yeah, they have a rough estimate, but they were not looking at this level. So because we educated them how that AI agent or maybe the generative AI will be helpful in doing those of a transformation. So we educated them. So we emphasize that not even single call is going to miss. Not even single call is not going to be returned. So if customer is calling, then somehow we need to return the call. Then customer service person has to do the call. But right now the AI agent will take down their number, and then they can also make a call. Then another side of it, you rightly brought up the point called personalization, because when the customer is calling to the restaurant, what we do, based on their number, based on the location, even based on their voice, how they are uttering the word, based on their voice, the system able to, whether the customer is called maybe 1 hour ago, maybe or maybe for the day, have they placed any order? Is there any other pending item do they have? They already choose from the menu, but they were not able to make a payment. The system will say, you already finalized your order. Do you want to go and make up a payment? Or the customer is calling as a fresh, then the system will say, so we know who you are, and then this is what the food you have ordered for last year, or maybe last month or last week. Based on that, it will be able to do the personalization on the menu and then give the suggestions to that. So there are many avenues that we are doing it. It's not only on the revenue side for the restaurant, and it will be fully satisfying, providing the exceptional customer service by doing a personalized menu and then looking at their situation, previous order, what is the weather condition, where they are, what their location, all of them that we are that's going to consider and then provide those options.
Yeah,
And number one,
that would
yeah,
definitely appeal to my wife. She always, every restaurant she goes to, she's got one meal she orders, and that's all she
yeah,
ever does. She doesn't want to know anything else about the rest of the menu. So it'd be really nice if every time she called in, that personalization knew, hey, do you just want the same order had last time, or the same order you've had the past 10 times in a row? I can kind of see where that's on a lot of stickiness. That it does feel very personal. It does feel very, oh, you guys know me. There's a lot of in that. It's that I don't know if you ever watched the series Cheers, but
hmm
the series Cheers, it was all about a place that felt like home because everybody knew your name. And I kind of feel
okay,
like that's a sense of this could create for somebody, even though it's an automated system, even though it's AI powered. And that's above and beyond what you said before about, hey, there's no missed calls. We get to everybody. How much revenue. When you become successful, and your business is busy, then all of a sudden you don't have enough people to keep up with all the call volume. And I could see would lean into the fact that, hey, we're missing calls because we're so good that we've got too many clients right now.
right. That's exactly right, Steve.
All right, let's go on to let's weight. I kind of think of the weight as kind of more of a strategy metric. What should be in the typical business owner's strategy mind? I guess what metric drives that strategy thinking for an executive right now?
Yeah, that's another wonderful question, Steve. Whatever that we were discussing before, so we, as a partner, we brought them, we educated them. But from the management perspective, they were thinking about at least 4 or 5 different items. One, contactless ordering, because after the COVID-19 pandemic, so there has been a significant shift towards those contactless and the digital ordering system. So how do we, yeah, how it's kind of a demand. So it was kind of a 300% in 2022, 2022.
300%.
So because everybody are of that, the importance of the contactless ordering, especially for the restaurant, they want to adopt it. That's one of the key metrics the management was thinking about it. And another one, the digital menu integration. Though right now the customer crew is looking at the menu and then providing all those inputs to the customer, how do we do the creating a digital menu, and then how the digital menu can be feed into this agents. And then another point I want to emphasize is the customer is calling, they may not be able to have a time to go through all those orders. What they will say, can you send me the link? Can you send me the menu link to my mobile, to the phone? So what the system does, get the phone number and then take the menu and then send the link. So the customer will disconnect the call and then they can go through the link and then do those selections and then make those payment and then place those orders. So that is also another way of looking. The management was looking at it. So digital menu integration, digital menu extension,
So,
and
so in that digital
yeah.
menu integration, is it only going to be like restaurant menus, or are there other possible menus from other popular industries? For example, we work with a lot of local government. Could that digital menu just be like different departments within an organization or services? Public works versus public safety versus whatever.
Yeah, then even they was talking about for the non-emergency call, one of our city, Midwest city. So we did the same thing. Instead of providing them kind of menu, they asked for, if my water is quality is not good, how do I do with that? If I need some kind of help on those tax payments, where do I need to do? How do I do? So what we did was based on their customer voice, based on their customer need. We searched it on the web, get the particular link, and then send it to their mobile phone so that they don't need to wait to get the answer on the phone itself. So it's
Okay.
not only applicable for the restaurant, it will be that the same pattern can be applicable across the board, whatever the industry that we are going to work on it. It is based on the need and based on the necessity, and as well as the what kind of a provision that we need to provide it to the end user. That based on that we can make it stay.
Yeah, many
Right.
years ago, I worked retail, and one of the hardest things, providing that, when you're in a physical location, you're trying to give great service to all the people that are there, and so sometimes the people calling in became secondary and had to wait, and or you had your least people handling the phone. So your most knowledgeable people were in the store with people, and you can kind of see where that digital menu engage with people, and not having your least knowledgeable person on the phone to answer questions, could be really helpful, especially with all the staffing challenges that organizations have today.
That's true. Yes. Good point.
Now, I guess I'm putting on my hat here. At what point do I need to stop treating that digital experience as optional because it could become a strategic liability for my organization?
Yeah. Because right now it's not a kind of option because the guest experience or maybe the dynamic menu and all of them it's must have. And then others, where do we need to stop? Well, at least we have to start from the foundation. So what we used to tell our partners as a trusted advisor, so get the foundation right. The core channel is ready, addressing the revenue leakage or any other core issues. Have you done that or not? If not done, whatever it takes, then go ahead and do it. And then without anything new, something kind of a transformational as impactful on the generative AI, then we are not going to bring it all at once. So you have to start small and then test those water. And then are we that? Are we able to achieve the goal, what we want? Are we able to generate those return of investment, what we are looking forward to have? So then once we reach the state, then we have to go back. If it is not working, then we have to go back to the ground and then make those changes, whether it's a problem with the data or it's problem with the any kind of mindset with people, or do we need to bring any other new technology. So we need to look at those issues and then addressing it. It's kind of a I would say the flywheel approach. You have to try, begin with one, and then use case, and then make it as a product, and build it, use it. If not working, go back to this, and then you have to go this cycle. So it's kind of a flywheel approach that we need to go. If anything is not working, then probably we have to stop there, and then we have to make sure that we are correcting those problems and before we move forward with it.
Now, do you have any suggestions or cheat codes for I'm sure after doing so many projects, you've got those organizations that adapt successfully, and then those kind of where the efforts stall a little bit, at least in maybe some of the early AI pilots. um, what do you think separates those organizations that adapt successfully from those that stall? What advice would you give to them to be more successful?
Yeah. So one, the point what I was talking to you is there the getting right,
Good. Okay.
yeah, foundation right, because it has to go kind of in a kind of it has to be in the linear way. If you are in the on-prem, you want to adapt AI, we can do that because there are many models available, technology available. If the data is residing within the enterprise, not a non-cloud environment, on-premise environment, then we need to pick and choose the right tool. But we have to have I was talking about the GTM, right? Go to market strategy, who you are serving it, what is the end goal. If the end goal may not be able to within the environment, then probably they have to move from on-prem to cloud. That is what they need to do. If you have moved from on-premise to cloud, that may be the first step they need to do. And after that, once they are into the cloud, then what kind of a data do they have? Is there any kind of a data manipulation, or maybe bringing the data kind of a unified platform, creating this data lake, a data lake house, how they are going to unify this data? That is very, very important because data is in multiple locations, then that itself is going to act as a bottleneck. So they need to look at that perspective. So get the foundation right, and then take one use case instead of going with the big bang approach. They need the key or maybe the right use case, a high priority use case, and then try that with, and then what is working, what is not working, look at those lessons learned, then make those corrections. That is the one area definitely where we have to start with that. And another area is going to be the current state versus target state. So what is the current state? And then what is our target state? That we need to define very clearly, because we have a current state with the entire business process is working fine, then the target system should be like that. But in order to achieve the target system, what are the services that we need to bring in? It may be the infrastructure, it may be the data tools, or it may be AI tools that we need to bring in. We have to decide and then do it. So is there any kind of overlapping or maybe crisscross of those technology as well as the requirement? That's a kind of a problem, because in our case we have defined what is the current state. We understood the current state very clearly, and then we define the target state. Based on the target state, we identify all the technologies required. So we need to look at those current state, target state mapping. What is the investments, and then do they have any north star? What is their tactical and strategic goal? Are their foundation is right? Are they ready to do this for kind of a flywheel approach? Those are all the some of the things that is that's what our lesson plan. And if any of those one component is failing, then it's going to impact. It's kind of cascaded effect. If one component is going to fail, then definitely other component is also going to be failed, because there is no data is ready, then we will not be able to build any AI system. So we have to, that's a kind of a tight correlation between the data and as far as AI. That understanding has to be a key, Steve.
Yeah, I think kind of your whole point about the current state, target state. A lot of those, a lot of I heard you said was, a lot of the model stuff. I guess I learned it through ITIL, but kind of having a path of to from point A to wherever you're heading. But with AI, there's kind of some new terminology. I heard you say data lake, getting all the data into one spot, and then also getting your data right. I think those are two concepts, AI oriented, that are a little bit different. Over time, just collect a whole bunch of bags of information that are sitting out there, but now that can work against you. So when you say getting the data right, getting rid of the old data, making sure the data is in the right format or tagged, or however it's organized within your data lake, it's all in one spot where you can get access to it, and it's in a shape before you can take advantage of it.
That's right. That's right. Another one point, maybe one liner I wanted to say. I
Okay.
was talking about the traditional AI and as well as the generative AI. So we need to have a proper understanding on when do we need to pick the traditional and when do we need to pick that generative AI, because use case is different. If you look at our use case, though we talk about English, then we might have to switch from English to other languages for Spanish, because Texas has a large population of Spanish speaking people. Then how do we support with that? If that
Okay.
is the case, then we need to pick this generative AI tool, so that kind of switching over from one language to another language, it is very easy in generative AI. But if you're going to go with the traditional AI, then there is some kind of a cumbersome way of doing it. So we need to have that kind of proper understanding what technology that we are going to choose and why we are choosing it. That's another bottleneck, or maybe the key area that we need to discuss, or maybe look at some kind of a advice before we move forward to take any decisions.
So when you say traditional AI, can you give our audience of what you mean when you say traditional AI versus generative AI?
Yeah, in a kind of a terms, I would say if you take you have a data, your application is generating some kind of a data, then you want to take those data and you have to have some kind of a projection. What will be my sales for the next 3 months? What will be my sales for next month or next year? Some of the projections you wanted to do, you have a data, you have to have a projection. Then that's where the traditional AI will be in place. Very good at it. Take those, providing recommendations, providing analysis on the data, providing projections on those your data points. That the traditional AI will be very good at it. But on the other hand, for the generative AI, you already have a data points, but you have to generate other data points. Say, for example, yeah, in our case, we are customer communication contact center. We are customers calling, and then we are recording their call. We are doing a transcription from their voice. After the transcription is done, we are going to take those data, and then we are going to create the additional data. It means that from combining multiple data points, we are creating the multiple data. What would be the scenario? So if any creation, any other points we created based on the existing data, then probably we have to use the generative AI. That's what called the generative AI, artificial intelligence. So we have to That will be kind of, I would say, very overview of the classification or maybe the differentiation between traditional AI and then generative AI.
Okay. So above and beyond simple, I guess, regression AI, where you're taking a body of and your values, you're adding in that ability to languages, take information in from the conversation, all of those above and beyond, what you already have, from historical and other things from.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Any generation has to happen. If you say, for example, you want to create a summary, you want to do some kind of a summarization of those particular topic, or you want to write any kind of a story, or those kind of or you need to create images and all of them, then that's where the kind of a generative AI will be kind of a right choice. But you do some kind of analysis on those data, and then probably we may need to pick and choose the traditional models, traditional AI.
Now, in the earlier discussion, you talked about the kind of that generative AI, being able to handle calls, the food menus, bookings, payments, all of those kinds of things are very valuable. But are there other benefits, customer service experience, all encompassing? Are there other, I guess, hidden costs or hidden benefits that organizations can also take away from that?
Yeah. Generation perspective, say we were talking about only customer communication, but automating the response. What customer has said, then what would be the proper response? So those responses is very difficult for the customer service person to say, but the generative AI can produce those responses. What they have asked for it, response that we have provided before, then what could be our response now? So those kind of permutation combinations for the response, or maybe a manipulated or maybe generated response would be as well as the suggestions. So take that. Let's say, for example, if you want to customer ask this question, and then what are the multiple ways that we can provide? Maybe as a human being, we may be able to think of two or three, but as a generative AI, it can maybe tens or maybe 15 different types of responses it can provide. So, and there are large volume data. Say, for example, we have to analyze one of our customers that we are doing. They have each document they have almost 400 to 500 pages of those data. Then there are several documents available in the same case, but when we want to respond to this customer, they don't need to go through all those documents. But what the generative AI can do, they can go through this 400 pages of the document and give you that kind of a 100 or maybe 200 summary for each document. And then you take those each document summary and then give the collective response. So those kind of a summarization, do the analysis, kind of recommendation, giving those personalization. Some of the areas that is going to increase the productivity. That's very, very important. Though we are talking generation and then responding to the customer, but at the end of the day, that's all falling into this, how to increase those productivity, how we are going to deliver those personalized support, and then how we are fostering organizational growth and capabilities and everything. So those are all the areas that are very, very important. I want to highlight here.
Okay. One of the favorite, I can't remember the guy's book, but in his book, he says this multiple times. He reminds us that the AI you're using today is going to be the worst AI you're ever going to have, because it's always getting better. So once you get it in place for your clients, yes, you're having to get everything right with your data to get it started, but over time, it's going to get better and better at delivering that personalized experience, right?
That's right. You are right, because you brought the right point. Today's innovation is going to be standard. That's where the situation we're right now. Even if you miss 2 3 days, then there will be if I'm say for example I'm to build a tool, and if I'm waiting for another 2 3 days, then there is a tool already available in the market. So that's where we are right now. So it's kind of keep evolving it. So we need to pick and choose the right platform, right tool, and then create the boundary. We have the boundary very clearly, what we want to achieve, and then how long that, what will be our timeline. Based on that, then we have to take those model and then start using it and building it. We should not go and look at what is best available in the markets, because that's going to keep evolving it. We will not be able to match with the standard what is being available. So we need to draw the boundary, and then what are the tools that we have to pick and choose the right thing and then start working on it. That's your point is really valid, and that everybody has to have a clear understanding on point what you have mentioned.
Now I hear you talking about tools, and I might be closer to the average executive because I deal around it all day long. But there's so many tools out there. You can't fling a dead cat without hitting a new AI tool, the best one or has the improvement and stuff. How do you how do leaders go through kind of trying to figure out that for voice AI projects or other AI projects that they might have going?
Yeah, on. From my experience, I would say whether it is going to be a end user or maybe middle level manager or maybe the executive, they have to make their hands dirty. That's what right now the line of attack. Everybody is looking at it right now. I think you heard the name Copilot. We take Copilot. We have a Copilot. I'm giving an example. So Copilot has three different versions. One, Copilot Chat, and Copilot 365, and Copilot Studio with where the agentic AI tools and capabilities. So we have to, we as an end user, it's very well we can start using it within a day, or maybe within, if you're going to spend 2 hours time, you should be able to well versed with that, can start using it. So we need to pick and choose the right tool and then start using it, because that tool is going to give what backend system is really required. Say, for example, you want to have a kind of a summarization system has to be built. We can try it on our own with the technology already available. Maybe take the Copilot 365 or maybe Copilot Studio. Then you should be able to play around on your own. In that option, you are doing them some kind of a pilot. You will be able to change the backend. It means there may be Anthropic Claude, there may be chat kind of a GPT-4. There are many other large language models available in the market. So which model is going to fit our environment, our requirement? We need to pick and choose. We need to try that out. Once we know the path, we know what data do we have, what model is going to fit in, what kind of a UI that we are going to have, and how we are going to embed it into the channel. It may be, are we going to embed it into the email? Are we going to use to give a kind of a straightforward, maybe kind of a simple user interface for the user to use it? We need to identify. So this environment we have to play around. Otherwise, it's very difficult to decide. So if we want to get into this AI, we want to make the call, then probably this may be the right direction. There are low code, no code. There are so many no code tools already available. It may be manager or maybe executive or maybe the kind of the end user. You have to forward and then start looking at it and then start using it, and then that's going to answer what they're looking for it.
Yeah, that's definitely something I hear in everybody's conversation about the adoption journey. You're never going to learn AI until you start using AI. It's a completely than we've ever had or used or had to foster. Requires that hands-on experience. You've got to, in my own journey, I guess I've primarily been around the Copilot Chat, the Copilot for 365, and Copilot Studio, and over the past 2 years, it's just kind of amazed me how much more it's like, oh, now I get it. Oh, now I understand. It's just been a continual journey of not knowing what I don't know, and then something happens, or I try it a certain way, or I do something different, then all of a sudden it hits me that, oh, now I get that. Now I understand that particular thing. It takes a lot of, and it requires an executive to be a change agent to bring it to the organization, because organizations can be stodgy animals. They don't want to learn anything new. It takes somebody who really help them get them out of that, so that they're willing to try something new.
That's true. Anything new, especially something and as impactful as this kind of a generative AI, then we are not going to bring it, or we are not going to build at once what we want. So we have to be at good at then expand to attain the scale what we want to have. So we have to start with that. That's where the low code no code platform available. Then, as I said, we have a Copilot. Then we may have to move from Copilot to maybe Azure for kind of Foundry, and then getting into the other areas. So we have to have a progressional way of adoption that is very, very important in this case.
Got so in the early stages, pilots plenty for you, especially ideal for the corporate environment where you have Office 365 and your data is in the cloud, or in a lot of those workloads are in the cloud. But down the road, it might be something custom for your organization in Azure, Foundry, one of those tools that's kind of built more for developing your own point tool or dedicated type of application.
That's right, Steve. You're right.
A lot of our conversation has been around customer service It's been around sales, applications of AI. Where do you see uh, where do you see AI role in operations?
Yeah. Operation, yes, because operation perspective, with respect to our use case, we were talking about at least two or three different entities. One is the operational cost that was that executive was talking about, how to raising, because there are labor cost is raising it maybe 30 to 30% of the total restaurant expenses. So that is prompting operator to see cost saving measures in all of them. So that is one of the focus area from the operational perspective. And the other side, labor shortage. Yes, for the restaurant industry, they have at least minimum 15 to 20 associates have to be work on this particular environment. So how are we going to reduce this? Or if they are going to have only maintaining this 15 to 20, then how are we going to service those people calling maybe 3,000 or 4,000 calls going to come into this particular day? So that's where we are bringing AI. An operational perspective, looking at, I was talking about the summarization, bringing various tools, bringing Copilot and all of them. That's all heavily impacting on those operational side. It means if I'm talking to the customer, how I am going to provide those answers. Before that, I need to go and do some kind of groundwork. I'm spending 30 minutes or 1 hour right now. Right now, it's not the case. The customer is asking something. I'm not even I don't need to listen to conversation because that agent is going to look at the conversation and it is going to convert from voice to text. From the text, it's those prompts, putting into this kind of a agent. The agent is going to look at those answers. An answer is going to come to and show my prompt in my in screen so I can give this answer to them. So there are many ways that is getting impacted. But as we discussed before, start with the kind of a low code, no code, and then that's to give us some kind of a path forward, which direction we need to fork, and then where do we need to fork and where do we need to merge. Those are some of the inputs it's going to be provided. So operational side, there will be a lot of impact is going to be made by in the near future.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of out there talking about kind of the low code, no code advantage of things. You don't the benefit of that is as an executive, you go and hire a software developer or an expert or somebody to help build that application. That if you're an executive and you're using these low code or no code tools, then you're able to take your concept as a I think I've heard the term citizen developer. Organizations are trying to put the power into the thinkers' hands, the knowledge workers, the executives, the department heads, so that they're able to build whatever it is that they're after, and not have to rely on somebody else out there to come in and do a spec, do a build out, craft an application, and then kind of have to train everyone in the organization. It becomes a more streamlined development process of let's create a tool, let's create an app.
That's right.
Of course, if inefficiency, were a sport, would kind of have season tickets. It's easy to kind of do things the way we've always done it, or I think I've maybe I've heard organizations tradition. We've been doing it wrong a long time now, and we're not ready to change. Now, as we kind of come to the end of our time here, Seeni, one of the things I always like to do is to try and distill it and come away with like one big takeaway. I try to read a lot of books over the course of a year and other things, and for me, I always try to, it's less about reading the book and coming away with something I can take back to me at the office and use over and over again. We've talked a lot about and AI, and I guess to paraphrase the great Eminem, if you had one shot, one opportunity, to make real AI decisions, real consequences for your organization, what's your one takeaway that people get from our conversation today?
Yeah. So operational efficiency, it's really it's not an option right now. It's kind of a strategic as an agenda for everyone. And as we discussed all along, there are so many tools are available. So definitely start trying it and then make it possible, because that AI maturity is already here. People were talking about there are no product being car solutions being deployed on production. That's not the case. There are so many solutions being deployed on the production right now because the AI maturity is already here. Then every business should accept it and adapt to the lead. And as mentioned before, today's innovation is going to be a tomorrow's standard. So we have to move forward and take very quickly. And other side, not only on the operation side, for the customer side, customer expectations is also raising. So if you don't do the operation efficiency, that's not impacting our revenue. That's also going to go with the other side of it, the spectrum of it. So customer experience. So AI can help to achieve all of them. Then so bring AI to do those kind of work. So please take it up and then move forward. Start implementing it. Start from low code, no code, and then gradually build what you wanted to build.
Okay, I like those. AI maturity is here. Making sure that every business as a tool. I remember. I'm old enough to remember the use of cell phones getting going in organizations and fax machines and all kinds of things that at the time it seemed astronaut like, but if the tools are here and ready to work, then take advantage of them. I do really appreciate the thing about customer expectations are already higher than some organizations. Sometimes it feels like people want you to answer their question before they're finished asking the question. It feels like post COVID, we're all struggling to kind of meet that standard that happened, that mad rush, and organizations and others adapted quickly and kind of raised the bar on kind of the client experience and what should be expected of all organizations, even though we're all competing against Amazon. Now,
Yeah,
what about prescriptions? Are there other small things that you would put along with that? To finish out the doctor's visit, things people should think about or know or take advantage of.
Yeah, one that probably I think I'll keep emphasizing those low code, no code tools. Uh, I think um, listeners should definitely look at and get ready. And this point, I think I did not say. I want to say while I'm finishing it. So we are not helping the customer by doing a better service. We are helping customers to compare against us to the competitor. What we are doing right now, because by providing all those personalized services and then answering all those calls, returning all those calls, providing personalized menu, there are many things that we talk about it, right? So all of them, why we are doing it is it's helping the customer to compare against our competitors and then come to us. So that's what the proposition we need to look at it. And low code no code is that that's the right spot. Whoever wants to get into AI, they need to try with the low code no code platform like Copilot, Q, and then there are many other options available. So they have to try and then get ready for it.
Excellent. I like it. So, code tools, understanding how it all fits together, and trying to figure out how you take advantage of it with your organization, whole client experience journey. That the buyer's journey, the engagement, service, the ability to solve problems themselves. I think that today, we're all looking for those things for ourselves everywhere we go. We're looking for organizations that are support us in ways that so we don't have to call, so we don't have to do other things to get taken care of. Now, if people had additional questions or thoughts, how can people reach you?
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I provided my email, and so they can reach out to me anytime. And I appreciate your time today, and look forward to talking to you next week, Steve.
All
Have
right.
a good day.
Thanks so much, Seeni. For myself, you can always reach me, the doctor at fulcrumgroup.net. We'll put Seeni's there as well. Of course, his LinkedIn profile will be in the video, the podcast. And wow, it's time. Well, how'd your doctor's visit go? Do you feel better?
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
Well,
Appreciate all you do.
Well, thanks for all you contributed to us to help people lead a healthy AI life for their organization. I think today's conversation is a little bit of a reminder that AI, AI's maturity and shiny tools. It's about getting started. It's about building a smarter, potentially can help your people kind of improve their outcomes we're looking for. So. The discussion sparked additional questions about how AI fits into your organizational strategy. Feel free to reach out to me. We'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you and help think through things the right way. And if you found value in today's visit, be sure to subscribe to a future podcast so you get our news and share with your friends so that, it helps break down technology and stuff without the hype. So thanks. I'm your host, Steve, the Dr. Meek, and the doctor is out. Thanks so much, Seeni. I appreciate your time today.